Welcome to another episode of Wealth Building Conference, and thank you for joining. My name is Oludare Fasola, and today is another day. I'm super excited to share another amazing topic with you today. Just like we used to do, anywhere you are joining, please ensure you just type your name and where you are joining from. Okay, if you are joining from Canada, just type your first name and type Canada. Again, we want you to please share this link with friends, families, colleagues that you feel they will be interested in, learning one or two things. What we're going to discuss today is not about, insurance agent or sales agent alone. We want to dive into something that is really affecting everybody in Canada and in other part of the world, right? So we all know that debt is one of the major killer of wealth. So if you don't deal with it, if you don't know how to handle wealth, if you don't know how to live a debt-free life, it's very difficult for you to build wealth. And that's why I want to quickly share this presentation with you today. Once again, welcome and welcome for joining. Just like I said, wherever you are joining from in any of the platform, whether you're joining from YouTube, you're joining from LinkedIn or Facebook or IG, please make sure you tag a friend, right? Share this link with them, all right? This is something that uh, you want everybody to benefit from. Please don't be selfish, right? So once again, you're welcome. So I'm going to quickly go into the presentation today. I will pull up my slide and I will just, go into the presentation. So let me quickly pull up my slide. Right. Today's topic is how credit card companies trap you in debt and how to break free. How credit card companies trap you in debt and how to break free. All right. Like I said earlier, right? If you don't know how to manage debt, right, or you are not really you don't know how to really deal with debt, it it will be very difficult for you to build wealth. And I will share a lot of examples, relatable stories that has to do with this topic today. Please make sure you jot down. If you have any questions, please put it in comment section. I'm going to treat that at the end of the presentation. Again, tomorrow, this week is the Father's Day, right? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that is hearing me. We're going to do more of that in the land of living. So, but it is not just about celebrating the Father's Day. I want you to also, this is a time for you to reject. This is a time for you to uh, sit down and assess yourself. If you are dealing with debt, you have debts, right? And you are struggling with debt, just like I've done in the past, right? This is time for you to take control of your financial freedom by, make sure you do a deep analysis into your finances, right? If you don't deal with it, if you're afraid or you are just, postponing, right, your finances, it's very, very dangerous. The more you delay things, the more you postpone, the more you avoid it, the more it becomes more complex, more difficult for you to deal with it. So please don't run away from it, right? It's very, very simple, especially if you understand what to do. Before I go into this presentation, I just want to quickly share a little bit of my story, why I decided to pick this particular topic, right, and talk about it. So I came to Canada in 2017 as a refugee with my family. I will pause here to tell you why do I have to emphasize the word refugee. The reason is because many of us, we have actually, put ourselves up or write ourselves up because of the fact that because of our status, because of our situations, because of our background, we feel that we may not be able to do some certain things. And again, as an immigrant, in a country like Canada, United States of America, London, United Kingdom, any part of the world, right? Financial education is very, very key. So when I came to Canada in 2017, I have no idea of how the credit systems work here. So when I was in the shelter, a lot of people introduced me to many, finance, and that was the beginning of my problem. Like that was how I find myself trapped in debt, right? uh, Financial education is very, very key. Okay, if you don't understand how money works, it will be very difficult for you to build wealth. So I was introduced to, a lot of credit cards. So my friends introduced me to credit cards, some by referral. So I started getting a lot of credit cards, right? And because of that, all I know is just, I mean, it's a credit card, right? The more you have good credit scores, the more you have credit cards, right? If you agree, say I agree. So it does not there is no problem about having credit card, but if you don't know how to manage credit card, or if you don't know how to use it, it might later becomes a problem for you. So I started swapping the credit card, right? And before I know what is happening, I incur a debt of $57,000, right? Both myself and my wife. I just want you to learn from this, and I want you to know why I need to, talk about this topic today. Now, at that point, I realized that I am in a mess, a financial mess, and I have to deal with it, right? And that was actually what really motivated me into, starting a financial services business. Many people that you see today, they find themselves in credit, like, they in debt. It's not because they want to go into debt, or because they want to have the debt, but because they don't understand how money works. They don't understand the credit system. All right. They don't understand that when you have a credit card, the balance on the credit card is not your money. As a matter of fact, any money you don't have, right? You have no business in spending it if you have it in credit card. Okay. If you don't have any money in your checking or savings account, right, don't bother to go and use credit card. And if you use credit card, make sure you pay back on time, because the more you leave it, the more it accumulates interest, and that interest compounds and becomes a huge problem. So I ran into debt, and guess what happened? I can't get out of debt again, right? I was introduced to financial services business, and my eyes became open. I realized that, oh, I've made a lot of mistakes. And that's why today I do tell people, right, that you need to understand how money works. The Canadian system is built on credit system, right? Mortgage, car finance, credit card, line of credit, all these is what they use to trap immigrant, right? And once you go into it and you don't know how to manage it, it becomes a problem. So I incurred a debt of $57,000, and I started struggling to get out of the debt. So if you are struggling with debt today, this is for you, right? Again, when I was about to start the business, right, one of the things that really pushed me is because of the fact that I have a debt to pay. Okay, so if you have a debt to pay and you are struggling with debt, this is another opportunity for you to start a side hustle and use that to pay up your credit, and I use that to pay up your debt. So it is very key to know that if you know how to deal with debt, if you know how to tackle debt on time, it will be easy for you to build wealth. I paid up the debt within 2 months, and that really gave me the control to take control of my finance. I was able to pay up my debt, you know, becomes debt free, and train other people, right, on how to be debt free. That is the reason why I chose this topic today. Again, if I also realize that in the course of you doing this business, if you have a lot of debt, you're struggling with debt, it will be very difficult for you to think in a right, like to think rightly, to prospect, to build the business. Because I mean, if you are struggling with debt, psychologically that might really disturb you from going into the business or starting your own side also. So if you know that you are struggling with debt, I want you to please join me in these presentations today. Let me show you the reason why people incur debt, the reason why credit card company will continue to get rich, and the psychology behind it, and how to come out of debt. So without further ado, I'm going to just quickly go into the presentation. Credit card companies debt traps. Like, the credit card company traps is designed to keep you paying. The system intentionally make it hard to escape. If you have a credit card, right, I want you to check. Many of us don't pay attention to this. You don't know how much the rate you are paying on the credit card. It is intentional for those credit card companies to keep you in debt, because the more credit card debt you have, the more debt you carry, especially bad debt. Like, if you are having a debt and that debt cannot generate further income for you, like, say for example, there are some good debt. Maybe you have mortgage, right? You know, and the mortgage is building equity, or you borrow money from financial institutions to do a project, right? And that project is giving you building some further returns for you. Those ones are very good debt. But if you have a debt that you don't, maybe you don't really know what actually you use the money for. Those are the type of debt that I'm talking about here, right? System intentionally make it hard to escape. Again, the credit card company profit from your balance. Banks earns billions from interest payment. I'm going to show you the data that show how much credit card debt we have in Canada and United States of America. I'm just going to share that with you so that it's mind blowing to know that a lot of people today, they have sink into debt. As a matter of fact, they are swimming in debt. It's very difficult for them to come out. But if you have the right strategies, if you have the right counselor, if you have the right coach, right, it will be easier for you to come out of debt. I can tell you that no matter the form of debt you have, right, there is a solution to that, and there's a way around that. Now, the credit card company debt traps, right, also break free with strategies, proven methods that can help you escape. So there are proven strategies that I have used for people in the past that you can also leverage on to escape from debt. Now, let's look at the credit card company industry. Okay, this is the statistics here. You can see in Canada, right? The Canadian credit card debt is roughly, as of 2024, was $113 billion. Oh my goodness. Imagine. So if you don't know, this is the figure, as numbers don't lie. $113 billion in credit card debt, on what you are owing, what I am owing, what everybody is owing. Imagine, right? If you are looking at maybe on average of 18% interest rate every month, every day, that is how the credit card company will continue to be rich. So if you don't know, this is the figure here. Please be very careful about the way you use your credit card. In US, the US credit card debt staggering trillion dollars problem at $1.2 trillion. Oh my goodness. $1.2 trillion. That's huge. And indeed, that's mind-blowing. Guys, we have to be very, very careful the way you swipe credit card, the way you tap your credit card, the way you insert your credit card in the machine. Look at the figure here, right? So don't become another statistics. Don't let the credit card company trap you in such a way that it will be difficult for you to come out. It happens to me. I've just shared my story with you today, right? I came here with no financial education, right? I felt maybe credit card is a free money, and I start spending it. I've seen a lot of people, immigrants, using credit card, maybe to buy, to live a luxury life. I mean, credit card is not meant for that, right? Or maybe using it for emergency. It's not meant for that. Like I said, any money you don't have in your checking or savings account, you have no business to spend it on your credit card. You don't. Because if you spend it, it's just like you are spending the money you don't have. And if you do that, it will get to a point you will not be able to pay. And you know what? Yeah, I don't know whether you have experienced that in the past. Like, when you have a lot of, outstanding balance on your credit card and you are paying the minimum balance, you'll be like, you are not paying anything. And before you know what is happening, the thing will just, increasing every month, because on average, right, 20% profit from the balances. So companies earn most when you don't pay in full. So anytime you don't pay in full, company is, you are enriching companies. Anytime you fail to pay your credit card, you are enriching another company. So be very careful. Imagine if a bank is charging you 20% on your credit card. I just look at it like, guys, we just need to be wise, and you need to have this financial education. Imagine you take your money to the bank, right? You put it in savings account, and bank is giving you 0.001%. And you take a credit card from that same bank, and they are charging you 19-20%. Is that not crazy? And that's lack of financial education. And that is why I do encourage people and I do advise people, please set up your own bank. Have your own bank. You might ask me, how do I have my own bank? Please, if you want to know, schedule one-on-one presentation with me. I'm going to show you how you can set up your own bank. Because why? Bank is also doing what they are doing for you, what they are giving you. You can also do it. You don't need to be taking credit card. You can set up your own bank, and you can begin to use that. It's much more better. It will put so much money in your pocket, right? It will help you to build wealth, and you can also leave legacy for your family. All right, let's go. The debt trap explained. The minimum payment illusion. The minimum payment illusion designed to extend debt for decades. Like, if you have a credit card debt, all right, and you are paying the minimum balance, right? If you are like paying about, let's say 18%, right? It take a minimum of about 4 years before you can come out of that debt. Imagine that. If you are paying minimum balance, that balance doubled every four years. Because why? There's what we call the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is a compound formula that we use in finance. So whatever, if you are getting, if you have a credit card and the interest rate, let's say it's 18%, divide 72 by 18. Okay, that will give you the numbers of years that money will double. If you are paying the minimum balance or you don't pay at all, right? Same if you have money in the banks and you are getting maybe 10%, 7%, 6% divided by rule 72. That will give you the numbers of years your money will double. I'm just trying to explain to you today that if you don't know, you don't know. Get knowledge, get financial education. They don't teach money in school. That's the unfortunate thing. But a lot of us, right, we feel that learning money or building wealth is by going to college or you going to university. If you get a certificate, you're gonna. It's not. It doesn't work that way, right? It's a different ball game entirely. If you want to build wealth, if you want to really learn about how money works, they don't teach that in school. No. Sky high interest rate. Canada average interest is about 19.99%, and United States is about 23.37%. Imagine you have a credit card and you are paying 19%, between 19 to 24% on credit card, right? And you are paying that one for years. How will you be able to build wealth? And imagine, right? You have a credit card, you're paying 19%, you put your money in a savings account in the bank, you are getting 1%. That's financial education, right? Why can't you put the money in a vehicle that will give you more interest rate, more rate of returns, right? The hidden fee traps, late penalty, balance transfers, and cash advances. There are inbuilt fees. Some of us are paying annual fees on our credit card. Some are paying balance transfer. If you take a cash advance from your credit card, it is huge bank charges. I want you to do this calculation. Please go back and audit your credit card. Calculate all the interest you are paying on it, and you understand that you are putting a lot of money on the table for the banks, right? Stop doing that if you really want to build wealth. And if you want to go into any business, right? If you have debt, that you don't have any business, you don't have any business to go into side also, because why? it will it will be very difficult for you to, like, I mean, you have a debt, right? And you are doing a business, you are paying 20%, 19%, and you are doing a business that is giving you maybe 5%, 10% in returns. How does it really match? You have to deal with that bad debt first before you go into the business. It's a wise it's a wise decision. Minimum payment keep you broke, right? Now, 17 years to pay a total debt of $9,000. Let's say, for example, I'm still using the same example. If you are paying 20%, 19% divided by rule 72, and know how much, right, you are going to use to pay the balance on your credit card, right? 5 years to pay a total debt of $6,800. So all these, okay, if assuming you are paying 20% interest rate, and 3 years to pay off a total debt of $6,100 at 20, you have to understand this, that debt debt is one of the biggest destroyers of wealth. I've seen many people that what kill their business is debt. If you see any businesses that their liability is becoming huge and huge on daily basis every year, that is a threat to the going concern of that company, right? You have a lot of debt, credit card debt, CRA debt, you know, line of credit, finance, all form of debt. And like when they now do the financial analysis, they now realize that, okay, your liability is times two of your debt, then that company is in danger. Is over time, the going concerns will be seriously threatening. So let us really understand. Let's deal with debt. Everybody type debt. 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 Debt is number one biggest destroyer of wealth. The psychology of debt. Everybody type psychology. Psychology. The reward laws, point and pegs encouraging overspending. Like, a lot of times when you have a card, they will tell you, so there is a reward system on this card. I remember when I used to have Amex, right? A lot of perks. And you know what? It's to keep you, they just want to keep you in debt. They just want to keep you in debt, right? So it's not, they just like, they're just using these simple tactics to just keep you in debt. Or buy now, pay later. Everybody type buy now, pay later. Instant gratifications trump future pains. Like, delayed gratification is very key in building wealth, right? A lot of us will do impulse buying. Many times, we buy something that we don't need, or we cannot really delay gratifications. Like, you see money and the next thing is that I need to buy a latest cars, I need to buy very good designer clothes. Those rich people, they don't look rich, right? You don't see them looking rich. They know how to multiply their money tax free. Okay, everybody type tax free. Tax free. Credit cost fears, anxiety about losing scores keep people trapped. Now, I've seen, including me, right? When I came to this country, when I realized that credit scores is part of what they're going to use to assess me if I want to buy a house, buy cars on credit, or take line of credit and all of that, I begin to guide my credit card jealously. And of course, you need to guide it, because the credit scores is just like your mirror, right? Banks don't see you, but they see your credit scores. Like, whatever they want to do with you, what they will first check is your credit scores. Even in a business too, if you don't have good credit scores, you may not be able to properly manage people's money, like, because why? You are dealing with people's money. So you need to make sure that you keep your credit scores very, very, the credit utilization must be very, very low. Okay, like you must not be more than 30% of your, I mean, it's that one is even huge. That's even huge, right? So your credit utilization must be extremely low in order for you to make sure that you get good, credit. But that is not the reason why I'm trying to, what that's what I'm trying to explain here. The fear that, oh, I don't want my credit scores to be bad. I don't want to, I don't want to, like, I want to make sure that I have great scores. They will push credit cards to you, right? Of course, it's good to build credit scores, but as you are spending from it, make sure you pay it back on time. Don't allow the 30-day cycles to go before you pay back the outstanding balance. The credit scores manipulation. Every type manipulation. Credit scores manipulation. Credit scores manipulation. Good score. More credit score flood your mailbox. How many of us here, like, on maybe on monthly basis, you do get mails from banks, are inviting you to come and take credits? How many of us? If you are one of them, type yes. I used to receive that. My wife used to receive a lot of these from banks and other financial institutions. Say, we have an offer for you. Just come and take these credits. Come and take this card. This is the rate. There is no annual fee. All this is just for you to keep you in debt, right? I only have one credit card, which is for my corporations, and my wife maybe have another one as well. So the reason is because we want to track our spending. Again, if you have a credit card, you must ask yourself, what is the purpose of getting these credit cards? Of course, we need it maybe for daily expenses and all of that. And like I said, once you spend it, please pay it back immediately. It's a very good way to build credit cards and not to put yourself into debt. Okay, but if you have a good credit scores, bank would keep inviting you to come and take credits. All right, take new credit, easy approval to higher balances. There are some banks that all you need to do, they will just send it to you. All you need to do is just to activate. They will send it to you by mail, and the next thing is just accept. Then that's all. You have to be careful, right? If you have multiple credit cards, it's very tempting. Because why? If you are not careful, it might lead you into serious debt. Please be guided. Don't fall into for that trap. Don't fall into it. It's tempting. It's risky, right? More credit needed. Use new credit to fix problem from old credit. Now, some financial institutions will tell you, okay, consolidate your debt, right? Is another way just for you to push you into another debt. Don't fall for it. Of course, we have credit counselors. If you know that your case is very complex, my advice, please see a credit counselor to know the next line of actions. I tell you, I've seen it many times, right? Some people, right, they go into depression because of debt. Don't allow that to happen to you, right? Missed payment, interest spikes, credit scores falls. Like, once you miss payments, right, it spikes your credit scores. Like, once you miss any payment, they report that to your credit bureau, your equifax, your your other type of credit institutions that they use to assess your credit. So i- it's a way to manipulate your mindset about credit. Like, once you miss a payment, they report that, and once they report it, if they pull up your credit, people will not people will not be able to, like, trust you when it comes to their money, because the money they are giving to you is somebody's money. So when it is time for you to return that person's money, they should have access to that money. And for the fact that they are giving you another money to use, the interest you pay on that is the reward for that particular person. But me and you, right, we use banks in Canada, and we know how much you are putting in a checking account. How much did you get in return? Like, they take 19% of from the credit card, but they give you maybe 0.01%, if even if it's up to that. So this is something nobody will teach you all of this. You have to sit down and learn it. But I'm just opening your eyes to the little things that we don't really take care of, you don't pay attention to, that becomes a huge problem later in life. Okay, everybody type mispayment, mispayment. Let's proceed. Who they target most? Who they target most? Let's look at the categories of people that they target. Number one, student. Everybody type students. Student with limited income, no credit histories, campus promotions with great free gifts. So they know how to target this type of, you know, categories of people. Because why? They have limited income. And the thing is that they will encourage them, hey, once you take the credit cards, it will allow you to build your credit scores, credit histories, and there are little there are free gift for you when you take the credit score. Is a way to trap you in debt. Don't fall for it. Okay, immigrant, building in financial life, pressure to establish credit quickly. Like I said, it happens to me. I want you to learn from my story, right? I came here, no idea of how credit works, incur a debt of $57,000, started struggling to pay it off, right? And this is just because what they told me is that the more credit I have, okay, the more it will be difficult for the government of this country to send me back home. You can imagine that. That is kind of the that I learned from people that surrounded me, because a lot of them also, we are all small, the same thing. We are new in the country. We don't have any financial knowledge about how the credit card works. How do you manage it? What is the credit utilization ratio? What is the minimum balance? And how can we really manage it in such a way that we are not going to be paying huge interest? I don't have anybody that will educate me on this. I have to figure it out myself until I started my financial services business. And of course, if you are in this business, the kind of business I'm doing, which is financial services, it's not about making money alone, but it also teach you some basic financial educations that you will not even have known if you don't start this business. So this is not like it's not the money that is the major reasons why a lot of us are going into this business. We are going into this because of the passion, because of the fact that it happens to us, and we don't want it to happen to other immigrants like us, so that we don't want them to fall into all this problem. That's why we're very, very passionate about it. Everybody type immigrant. Now, the last one is low income earners. Everybody type low income earner. Need credit for essentials. Need credit for essentials. Targeted with high interest offer. Now, the low income earners, I remember when I came as well. Okay, TD gave me, I think, about $300 uh, overdraft. Okay, on Visa, and that's what I've been, that's what we are using to manage ourselves. But if it is more than that, honestly speaking, I will spend it. Because why? If you are as a low income earner, right, your income is minimal, sometimes you run into big challenges that your income might not be able to accommodate it, and you need to spend money. And that's when you'll be tempted, or you have no choice than to spend credit card. So low income earner is also a target in this particular area. So if you are a low income earner, you have to be very careful the way you use your credit card. The real cost of rewards, every time, the real cost of rewards, the real cost of rewards. Like, look at it. Let's look the analysis. So if you take with what they advertise is 1 to 2% cash back on purchases. Imagine. Now, if you do a purchases, they give you 1 to 2% cash back on purchases. But guess what? They charge you 20% plus interest is interest erases the reward. Now, if you take a credit card and they give you a cashback of 1 to 2%, that is what they advertise. But in the real sense of, by the time you pay the 20% on your interest rate, right? Look at 1 to 2%. So you can say, right, it's a trap. Don't fall for it. Like, it, it's 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 it makes a lot of sense when you look at it and you begin to analyze things, right? What what is the benefit to the person that is using that credit card, and what will the bank benefit from it? To sit down now. They are giving me 2%, 1 to 2% on cashback on purchases. but I'm paying 20% on the outstanding balance on my credit card. Who are you serving? You are a slave to the bank. That's just the truth. Travel point and perks, right? Annual fee offset that benefit. Now, you know, we have a lot of us that we have points. Like if you have maybe I remember there is one they used to that I used to use for Canada Airlines, right? So there are point system, but the annual fee offsets that travel points that you think that is maybe important, right? You need to get sense. Free insurance benefits, spending more to earn point. Now, the more they put all these benefits, the more they are telling you that you can spend more, right? Because why? They insure that benefit. Please don't fall for it. It's a trap. Now, let's look at the Canadian family case study. Canadian family case study. Before the strategies, I'm going to show you the strategies of how to pay the debt off, right? Before the strategies, $8,000 across 3 cards, minimum payment only 20 years plus, payoff timeline. Now, when we apply the avalanche method, the avalanche methods focus on high interest first. Okay, cut unnecessary expenses, maintain strict budget. Look at the result. In 3 to 5 years, this particular family was able to save $4,000 in interest, rebuild emergency funds. Everybody types emergency fund. If you don't have emergency fund, it's risky. It's very is very very difficult. Like if things happen, like we have times where unforeseen contingencies just happen, and you be like your normal monthly income cannot really accommodate that. If you don't have emergency funds in place, it throw you off balance, and you will not be able to. And this particular type, the country we find ourselves is a country that you need to plan. It's not like it's a credit system. So things happen, maybe your car get fault, or something happens along the line, and you need money that you don't really plan for. That is the essence of the emergency fund. So by applying these strategies, the family was able to build their emergency fund up to $4,000. Step one, which is awareness. So this is the steps to deal with debt. If you are struggling with debt, these are the steps to follow. Lift. Number one, list all debt. Write down balances for each card. Note interest rate and the minimum payment. Now, don't think on, don't use your brain to calculate this. Don't think on paper. Write it out one by one and list the interest rates and the minimum payment. Calculate the total debt. Add all balances together. Place situation. So if you don't know the total, it will be difficult for you to deal with the debt. So make sure that you write down all the debts before you can start dealing with it. Stop new debt. Freeze cards or cut them up. Remove from digital wallets. Now, don't use Rob Paul to pay Peter. Don't take another credit card to pay one credit card. It's not a wise decision. I mean, you want to get out of debt and you are taking more credit, you are taking more line of credit, you are taking more that, you are taking more this. The more you are trying to do that, the more you put yourself into bigger debt. So, and if care is not taken, it might really, really difficult for you to come out of debt. I'm telling you. So you have to stop that, right? Step two, choose your strategies. There are two strategies I'm going to discuss here today. We have the snowball method and we have the avalanche method. The snowball method. Pay smaller debt first. So for the snowball method, pay smaller debt first. Create quick wins, right? So once you pay the smaller debt first, for the snowball, you create it actually creates quick wins and build momentum, and psychologically it's rewarding when you, I mean, how many of us have actually, you know struggled with debt in the past and you're able to pay it off. It has happened to me, right? If you are one of them, say just type yes, I'm one of them. And if you are not, say I'm not. We are not trying to we are not trying to say or expose ourselves. We're just learning. Like, because stories, when you tell a relatable stories, people can quickly learn from them. Because as a new immigrant, I know what I passed through in this country, and I don't want people to go to pass through the same thing. And that's why I'm sharing my experience, right? If you have proper financial education, if you have the right guidance, if you understand how money works, it will be difficult for you to go into debt, right? Everybody types snowball method, snowball method. You need to understand all these basic things. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether you are licensed or not. Sit down, read about this. All these things are on ChatGPT, on internet, on Google. Try to read, okay? Try to understand the credit systems. The more you understand it, the more it is easier for you to play around the system and use it to build well. A lot of us use this thing to build well. Like, I mean, people that are going into real massive project, they borrow money from the bank, but they do it with a proper appraiser. Like, they do a thorough projections and analysis of what they want to take. They do the cost benefit analysis of what is the cost of taking this money. Is there any returns from it? Okay, it makes you to look smarter. Because why? If you do all of this, it will be easier. And see, if you are going into projects that make, like, you want to invest reasonable amount of money, please seek expert advice. Don't do it yourself. I mean, it's better to pay that expert to do it for you than to just throw your money into something that you have no idea, you don't have the proper understanding. It's difficult, right? The second strategies is what called avalanche method. Pay higher interest first, save most money, mathematically optimize and reduce total interest rate. Because at the end of the day, you realize that this actually reduces a lot of this. Let's look at the snowball. Let's look at the snowball. Everybody type snowball method, snowball method. So the snowball methods build motivations by tackling smaller debt first, creating a chain reactions of debt elimination as you apply growing payment to each subsequent balance. The first one is you arrange by balance, smaller debt to the largest. So you start from the smaller debt and you begin to list it to all up to the largest one. Now, the first thing is you attack the smaller debt first. Now, the smaller debts, you pay the minimum on all others. So you have to, so in this case, you are paying the minimum on all these debt. Now, apply that payment to the next debt. So the remaining balance, you apply it to the next debts and build momentum. Payments grow as debt disappear. The more your debt disappear, the more you build momentum. Everybody type momentum, momentum. Now, avalanche method explain. This is the avalanche method. Target higher interest first. Okay. Attack most expensive debt. So in this case, you are dealing with the most expensive debt, those ones that have the most highest interest rate, like 20%, 24%. Some debts can up to like maybe 30%. If you are all these if you take debt from maybe from non-financial institutions, for example, sometimes it might go like in the United States, right? You see, on credit card alone, people are paying as much as 24 point something percent on credit card. Oh my goodness. How will you be able, if you have a credit card debt, how will you be able to build wealth, right? Again, you are saving money in a bank, you're getting 0.1% on interest rate, and that same money they used to give you credit card and you are paying 24% is wisdom. Guys, let us be wise, especially we immigrant. Okay, for us to build wealth, we need to understand it. The reason why a lot of people are struggling is not because they um it's not because they don't have money, it's because they fail to learn. They don't want to understand how the money works. And financial education is very, very key when it comes to building wealth. Move to the next rate. Repeat until debt free. Repeat until debt free. The tools and resources. Now, let's look at the tools and resources. Everybody type tools and resources. Tools and resources. Essential digital as in-person resource to accelerate credit card debt, eliminations, and rebuild your financial foundations. Number one, the debt payoff calculators. The debt payoff calculator. Everybody type debt payoff calculators. Show interest savings. This type of calculator, it will show you the interest you are savings on debt. Okay. So this is, we just have to uh we just need to understand this. The why now it create expensive visibility for both method. This is an apps, it's just like a way of budgeting. Okay. If you don't budget, if you don't do proper budgeting, it will be extremely difficult for you to build wealth, right? Not only create budget, but you must also adjust to that budget. People do have budget, but they don't follow the budget, right? Any money that does not fit into your budget, right? You don't have to spend it, except for emergency. And but you also have, at least you know you have already built emergency funds. So once you create a budget, please adjust to that budget. Follow the budget immediately. And it's very simple. Do you think it's difficult for you to know? For example, how much do you spend on grocery on monthly basis? How much do you pay on your bills? All those, list them out. Okay, list them out. If you have other things you want to do, list them out and cost each and every one of them, and make sure you don't go beyond what you listed out. It will make you to be responsible, it will make you to be accountable, and it will help you to trace all where the inflow is coming and outflow. Just like it's just a way of knowing how much is coming to me, like, and where is that money going to. That's just a simple analysis of what budget is. But it's not about listing them out. You also need to follow them one to the latter. Follow them one by one. How much am I paying on the mortgage? Now, all these things are fixed, right? Understand them. How much am I paying on water? How much am I paying on gas? How much am I going to pay on hydros and all of that? You need to understand all of this, and you make sure that you follow that budget. Credit Counseling Society offer free Canadian consultations. We have this society offer free credit consultation. So if you are struggling with debt, you can Google, excuse me, you can Google them, right? They are it's a non-profit organizations. They are going to offer free credit consultations, and this will also help you if you are struggling with them. Most Canadians save times 15 to 20 hours using these tools. So these are tools that you have for free. You don't need to um and Financial Consumer Agency of Canada provide educational resources. So all these, these are some of these are government agencies that pretty much everything is free. Just go there, learn, things that you really need to know about how to manage them. Now, breaking free, final tips. Okay, cut expenses. Find 100 to 300 monthly to accelerate payoff, right? So the first thing for you to break out of debt is to cut your expenses. How? You know, unnecessary subscriptions that you know you don't really need. Okay, there are so many subscriptions that you are paying that you are not aware of. Please audit your bank statement, audit your credit card statement. How much is going into some subscriptions that are not really important, and expenses that are not really, that key to you? Cut it off, right? $50, $20, it adds up. By the time you do it 1 month, 2 months, you realize that at the end of the year, it's a lot of money. Again, for us, I want you to also go back to your bank statement, audit your bank statement. There are charges that you can contest. At the end of the day, by the time you calculate all these things, $1, 2 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents, 10 cents, all those things add up at the end of the day. So make sure you audit your bank statement, audit your credit card statement, cut down unnecessary expenses, automate payments, set it and forget it. Now, the one of the quickest way to build wealth is to automate payment. As you do it for your savings, do it for your debt as well. Once you set it up, forget about it and begin to try to build momentum and celebrate milestone, reward progress with free low cost celebrations. Anytime you pay off a debt, celebrate yourself. Say, look, just tap your chest and celebrate yourself. It's very important. Debt firewall, no new credit until debt is gone. Now, you need to be disciplined in this case, right? If you are not disciplined, you can't do it. You have to build debt firewall. Right? At this point, I'm not going to take any credit card. I'm not going to take any form of, line of credit. I'm not going to take any form of finances until I paid off all this. Now, take control of your financial future. Number one, understand the game. Credit card companies profit from your debt. That's the truth. You have seen that $113 billion, $1.2 billion in credit in the United States and Canada is huge, right? Multiply, just work about 19, let's say 20% on average on those balances is huge. That's why they are very, very rich, right? And it's your money. It's your money, is my money. They are not, the money is not from anybody. The money that you put there is what they use to give you the credit card back and they charge you 19%. Be wise, right? Have your own bank, right? Don't let them continue to use your money to enrich themselves. Make strategies move. Choose snowballs or avalanche method. Depends on the type of debt you have, right? Will determine what method you want to use, right? So you need to be, you need to sit down. And if you need financial advice, if you need proper counseling, or you are struggling with that, please, you can book a call with me. I'm going to show you how to come out of there. I've been there before, so I know what it is, right? So I'm talking about what I know. I've been in debt before, right? And I've been able to train, help other people to also pay up their debt. So if you need guidance, if you need help, please book a call with me at the end of this presentation. Debt freedom awaits. You are not meant to stay in debt forever, right? It is not your portion, but you cannot do it on your own. You can't do it alone. So you need advice. You need people that will help you to take charge, to take control. Now, book free strategy sessions, get personalized debt freedom plan. Like I said, I'm going to share um my QR code to book a call if you are struggling with them. So thank you so much for listening. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and I will pull and I will add my QR code. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining. Let me see if you have any question. Right. Thank you. Thank you. No. Do you have any question? If you have any question, please, you can drop in the chat box. And if you are struggling with debt, okay, if you know anybody who is struggling with debt, please, you can screenshot this QR code and send it to them to book a call with me. I'm going to share that with them for free, right? I'm not, although I do charge in some cases, but then this is a free strategy call. Just let them book a call with me. I'm going to walk them through on how to come out of debt and start building wealth, and also set up their own bank, right? You'll be like, how do I set up my bank? So, well, just book a call with me. I'm going to share that with you on how you can set up your own bank. Tomorrow, we're going to be also be talking about medical professionals, the smart way to build wealth without, paying a huge tax. If you know of any medical professionals, or you also want to have a niche, like you are creating your own niche around medical professionals, business owners, um, lawyers, accountants, and all of that, you can also join us tomorrow to also learn. I want to say thank you for joining once again. I do really really appreciate all of you from different social media handles. You join me from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from IG. I really want to thank you. This is a program that we started in about uh, like a month ago. It's just roughly a month now. I want to make it every week, right? So uh by hopefully by next month, I'm gonna come up with a challenge, because right, I realize that people really need to understand financial literacy. And of course, one of the things that God has really blessed me with, the skills in selling. So I love to sell things. I love selling. One of the way to quickly build wealth is to learn how to sell, right? You are making money on daily basis. You are spending money on daily basis, so you need to make money on daily basis. And one of the way is to sell, right? If you love to sell, please join me um next week on Friday again, in order for us to build uh, to also learn another topic on selling. Thank you so much for joining. If you have any question, please drop it on the chat box so that we can both look at it together. Then, if there is no other questions, we just want to call it a day. Uh, Tomorrow is another day. We're going to meet tomorrow. Thank you and God bless. Bye for now.